Hi friends, did you know that today is World Diabetes Day and also Diwali, which is a festival of lights for most Indians, and essentially happy Diwali to everybody out there. And just wanted to share on this occasion about what's going on in healthcare with diabetes and where and how we at IN Diabetes Center in Augusta, Georgia, are trying to make this impact in changing healthcare through nutrition, infection, podiatry, diabetes, endocrine, and also significant wellness solutions to telemedicine technology with remote food tracking telemedicine tool that we use essentially in the office also. And to make things better, it just happens that we need a lot of input from each person. And for that, each person has to take care of themselves. Now, it's very hard to make that change for every person unless they understand. So communication happens to be an important tool. So it all comes down to communication, personalization, implementation, realization, and reevaluation. So with that paradigm, I just want to not keep talking, but I want to show two slides and then close it off within 10 minutes or so. And hi Amy, hi Kim, and hi Nicole. And thank you for joining, but I'll try to keep it short, guys. So let me flip my camera and let me show. So, okay, I flipped it twice, I guess. So, basically, what I have is, because today is World Diabetes Day, I just wanted to just go over the whole idea of being diabetes being the real problem in healthcare, but also to inform you that it just comes down to understanding the gravity of the situation that we are facing in healthcare. And number one, we have to understand that there's almost 108 million people that were having diabetes in 80, but also ended up that it was 422 million people as of 2014. And the prevalence, as you can see, has increased dramatically to 8.5% even among adults with diabetes over 18 years. And that has been a 5% increase from 2000 to 2016. And more so, it is affecting people in low-income countries. And major cause is diabetes. Of this diabetes is blindness, kidney failure. You see a lot of dialysis centers, don't you? And stroke and lower limb amputations. And which is what I see mostly because we are a vascular center with a significant endovascular work we do. We see a lot of that, but we are fighting the fight to try to save the limbs, but how can we prevent? That is what we are focusing on. And we can see that there is almost in 2016, 1.6 million deaths from this cause of diabetes. Obviously, other issues with metabolic syndrome do contribute to that, but more than half of these deaths in 2016 before 70 years was attributable to diabetes. Obviously, there is diet and physical activity that people recommend, but I just wanted to just show this slide here. These four things. You can see that diabetes is on the rise, and almost 422 million adults will have it. And of the 3.7 million diabetic deaths because of high sugar, I mean, like, you see this one, like, of the 3.7 million, only of that 1.5 million deaths are caused by diabetes alone. Now, there are different types of diabetes, type 1, type 2, and gestational diabetes. It could be anything. I mean, like, diabetes is nothing but a symptom of uncontrolled blood sugar. We just call it a disease, but it's just a symptom. And there are multiple consequences, like I said, stroke, blindness, heart disease, and kidney failure, and amputations. Now, why is an infectious disease guy talking about all this? Is because because of what I see. And I feel like I'm a hamster in a hamster wheel, or my office feels like a revolving door wherein people keep coming back again and again, and I'm really not helping them. And that's one of the reasons. Now, what are the risk factors? Unhealthy diet. We say unhealthy diet, but what is unhealthy diet? It's not a classic American diet that we eat, like all carb loaded material. Now, they try to push the agenda of physical activity increase, but I want to tell you that 80% of this has to do with what goes into our mouth, and we have to be guard at the front of our mouth to prevent these unhealthy things happening in our body. So we have to understand that it's not about just diabetes, it's about the metabolic mayhem that happens. It's about 1 in 3 people are overweight, 1 in 10 people are obese. Now, all this has a lot to do with what we put in our mouth. Now, what can we do? Eat healthy. Now, if we have to determine and detect what is eat healthy, that's a broad term. And we have to figure out what is healthy for one person might not be healthy for another person. Like I said, 80% is what we put into our mouth, and 20% could be exercise. And it just comes down to being physically active, yes, but also simple activity like walking, standing up, and little bit of muscle building exercises do help. Yes, blood sugar has to be checked, but we have to really understand that it's not about blood sugar, it is about insulin. We have to understand that there's a lot of medical advice, but we have to understand what medical advice is working for us. Simple parameters that you can use at home that include waist to height ratio. So measure your waist around the circumference and your height, and divide your waist circumference by height in inches, and then it has to be 0.5 or less. If you're going more than that, then you need to start looking. The next thing is simple, wherein you look at your triglycerides to HDL ratio. When it starts going more than 2, then that's a problem. How can we change this whole paradigm? Is by policy, by better diagnosis, by better ownership of your own health, and by better ownership of what goes on with yourself. So, I can keep talking on this, and I can keep going about telling this, but what I wanted to state is that each of us really have to take ownership of our health. And what I'm trying to do for myself is trying to understand my own health and my own issues, including trying to use some health data tracking using this Oura Ring and a Fitbit watch and a food tracking telemedicine technology tool that I use in the office on myself, and also body composition analysis that I do for myself and for my patients. So that's where I am, and that's my message for the World Diabetes Day and a Diwali Day, and happy Diwali for everybody out there who's celebrating it. And of course, life is all about light, and keep the light of knowledge. Try to understand where you are. Don't be despaired if you don't have significant health improvement. Just seek advice. It's out there with telemedicine technology. It's out there. Just all you have to do is look, ask, and you will get your solution. Take care, guys.